It's already week 5, nobody expected some teams to be this good and other teams to be this bad, so let's cover everything that happened in the NHL this past week. If you told me that the first team to beat the Vegas Golden Knights in regulation this season would be the Anaheim Ducks, I would have laughed in your face. The Ducks are one of the few surprises this season, as they are a lot better than fans expected. The Ducks coach Greg Cronin is teaching the young guys how to play a complete game, and right now, things are coming together nicely. Now, it likely won't last, but as a young team, it's crucial to see some positive results when you're working on building a championship process for the long haul. The Canucks, Habs, and Jets are all having a fun time, while the rest of Canada are very much not. Let's start with the Flames, who decided to sit Jonathan Huberdeau in the third period in a win over the Predators. And right here is a look of a man who has absolutely no answers about his game right now. This is hard to watch, and we broke down exactly what is wrong with his game last week, but anytime you see a player go through this type of mental block, there's a lot more elements going on here than what meets the eye. Now, you might be thinking, who cares? He gets paid handsomely. And honestly, I get it. I wish someone paid me $10.5 million to not score in beer league. But when you see a player who is as proud as Huberdeau starting to doubt his own capabilities to be an impact player, it can be a vicious downward spiral if it doesn't get corrected quickly. Then you just add the pressures of a Canadian market, and you got a player who is likely dreading coming to the rink every day. Speaking of dreading coming to the rink, how long before Connor McDavid finally explodes in a post-game press conference? The Oilers put their $5 million goalie in Jack Campbell on waivers. They lost again to the Canucks, and the frustration continues to mount for this team. We did a breakdown on them this week also, and why the defensive structure and goaltending has pretty much gone to but they pretty much hit rock bottom after they lost to the San Jose Sharks. Now, they did bounce back with a solid win against Seattle. They finally had some good goaltending, they played well in their defensive structure, and they were just finally able to capitalize on some of their offensive chances. With that being said, they still have a long way to go to get back into a playoff spot. And actually, right before I was about to upload this video, the Oilers announced that they have fired coach Jay Woodcroft. To me, this makes absolutely no sense, especially when they had a solid win over Seattle, and they could have just done this when they lost to the Sharks a few nights ago. Just sends a whole bunch of mixed messages to the room because they finally play a good game. It looks like they might be able to turn a corner if they continue to play like that, and then they just end up firing the coach. The Edmonton Oilers are a certified mess. Now, there's 3 guaranteed things in this life: death, taxes, and the Ottawa Senators getting off to horrific starts. Their best league ranking under DJ Smith after 20 games was 28th overall, and that was in Smith's first season. Last season, after 20 games, the Senators were 31st in the league with a 7-12-1 record. This year, they're once again trending in the same direction. And after a loss against Tampa Bay, the crowd started chanting "Fire DJ," and both Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux went to bat for their coach in interviews afterwards. You got one current captain and one former captain kind of taking the heat off of their own coach. But other than that, it is a bit odd because the players really like DJ Smith, yet they just haven't had much success with him in Ottawa. The question becomes how much more losing has to go on before Ottawa makes a coaching change. Now, the circus continues in Ontario as the Leafs looked absolutely pathetic in the first period against the Tampa Bay Lightning, going down 4-1 and then getting booed by their home crowd. Luckily, the Leafs scoring covered up their flaws and they were able to roar back and win the game in OT. And because they got the win, no one really cared how bad they looked defensively. That was until they did the exact same thing against Ottawa and lost. The media and fans were starting to call for jobs like they do always in a Canadian market. But after 2 wins against the Flames and Canucks, all is back to being okay in Leafland. This of course means that I will see you all at the Leaf Cup Parade in late June. Now, the rest of Canada isn't as depressing as the Jets, Canucks, and Habs all hold a playoff spot with almost little to no drama. The Habs finally beat the Bruins for the first time since 2019, and that's a statement win against one of the top teams in the league on a Saturday night. The expectation is that the Habs will eventually hit a wall, but until they do, they're an easy team to root for as pure underdogs. In an early Christmas miracle, the San Jose Sharks finally won a game. A 2-1 win against the Flyers meant that the Sharks snapped an 11-game losing streak and a streak of allowing 10 or more goals in back-to-back games. Truly a heartwarming story. Now, the New York Rangers are an absolute wagon, and Artemi Panarin is a massive reason why. On a 13-game point streak, he has 22 points in that span, and Panarin has been so good early on that if he keeps it up, he'll be right in the mix for a Hart Trophy. Really, the entire Rangers team right now has looked fantastic to start the season. They're playing with far more structure this year under Laviolette, and it shows in pretty much every aspect of their game. Another team who's completely sneaking under the radar due to all the headline hogs in Canada is the Florida Panthers. They're missing two key defensemen in both Ekblad and Montour, and yet they find themselves in a top 3 spot in the Atlantic. Paul Maurice has this unique ability of squeezing the most out of his players, as we saw from last season. But it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it up for the full 82 games. Florida needs to play a physically demanding style if they want to win. We saw they did it last year, and that style can make it hard to have regular season success due to the toll it takes on your body. But if they can make it to the dance, that style becomes instantly more favorable, as we saw from them last year. Now, the rookies are absolutely buzzing right now, and it makes you realize that these kids will be a huge problem for the rest of the league in the future. Connor Bedard netted his first 4-point night of his career against the Lightning, becoming the 3rd youngest player in NHL history to record a 4-point night. He's starting to really adjust to the pace of the NHL, and you can see it every time he touches the puck. Size hasn't been an issue with him, as many people were concerned about that, but so far, if you watch his game, he continues to find ways to get to the most dangerous areas of the ice without being overtly physical. The production will continue to come and increase as he continues to get more confident and familiar as to what works at this level. Now, he's not the only rookie starting to get comfortable, as Leo Carlsson got his first career hat trick in a game against the Flyers. The Ducks are taking a different approach with Carlson's development by having him play in only 2 games a week so that he doesn't get worn down. Basically, it's the NHL's version of load management for a young player to keep his body and mind fresh. Now, this is extremely rare to see a team do this with a younger player, but the Ducks are in it for the long haul, and so far, it looks like it's working just fine. Nikita Kucherov continues to be one of the best players in the league that absolutely no one talks about. So much so that BR Open Ice didn't even include him in the list for the top 25 players in the league. That is the ultimate fumble, especially when the guy is 2nd in NHL scoring right now. The rumor mill is starting to pick up as Flames defenseman Nikita Zadorov reportedly wants out of Calgary, but I mean, who doesn't at this point? But also, Patrick Kane has been rumored to be talking to a few teams in the Eastern Conference. Now, at this point, Vegas, Boston, and New York are really starting to establish themselves as top-tier teams in the league. You can throw the Canucks in there too, but I think they will regress a little bit as the season goes on. The basement has its usual suspects with the addition of the Edmonton Oilers, and I swear to God, if this team doesn't turn it around and they win the lottery again, I will lose it. Elias Pettersson leads the league with 25 points. Hughes leads all defensemen with 22 points. Matthews is still on top for goals, and Connor Bedard is on top of rookie scoring with 11 points. So, what did you think about Week 5? What teams do you think are overrated, underrated? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you want to see some of our deeper breakdowns from earlier this week, click on any of the videos on the screen here, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more hockey content.